right, so Python sets are used to store multiple items in a single variable. Okay, so and it's also a set, it's also a collection type in Python. And sets are unordered, that is number one, which means they are unindexed. They cannot be accessed using an index position. And they do not allow duplicates. So if you give it 3, 3, it will just take one and drop the other one. And if you give it, let's say you ask 3, 4, 5, depending on how it will choose to reorder them in a different way, in an ascending way. That is one thing it does as well. And also, if you try to access a value at a particular position, set will not allow you to do that, because sets are not ordered by are not ordered in an indexed manner.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's fine. So what it means is that automatically it sort it out right from the beginning.
Yes. Even though you provide values, it automatically sort them out for you, without you doing much.
Okay. So another question is that because you say it can contain multiple items, so it can contain float, string, the other type, integer. So if it contains all these things and is sorting them, how will it sort it? Will it say, okay, it can decide to say, okay, I'll bring strings together and that way, or you have to put in a code?
No. It will order them for you automatically.
Okay.
So it has its own algorithm for sorting them. I get it. So let's just start with declaring a set. So let's say let me say languages. Now to start a set, to declare a set, you need to use curly brackets. Let me make it, let's say C#, Python, let's say R Studio, not R. Let me see JavaScript. Let me say Java. So let me just call this one programming languages. Now let me just execute this quickly or shortly, and then I print the programming languages value. Let me just print it and see what comes as a result of that. Now, if you look at the example that we have over here, I've declared a variable called programming languages, and I assigned a value C#, Python, R, JavaScript, Java. Have you seen the way it has been ordered in mind when I was declaring the variable? But when I printed it, look at the way it has been reordered. So let's declare another variable with duplicated values. So we also established another fact that you can't have duplicated values in a set. Let's look at it. Duplicated values. So now you want to validate the fact that sets do not accept duplicated values. So I'll quickly, let's say, duplicated languages. All right. And then I'll declare the set value and say, let's say C#, another C#. Then I'll say JavaScript, Java, and I'll say another Java. Sorry. I'll say Python, then I'll say R, and I'll say another Python again. Now we'll add another R. Let's say another JavaScript. Then Java here, and JavaScript here again. So I'll run this and see, then I'll print the result and see what comes out. Sorry, duplicated languages. If you look at this carefully, you will see some difference. So if you realize it has removed all duplicated values, so that is, so you normally use this one if you want to have unique result of some data set. So you just pass it through. So instead of writing a function or something to remove duplicates, you just pass the entire the like all the values through a set, and it brings you back the unique values. Okay, so now let's proceed. Okay, and the next thing to do is accessing values or items from a set. Okay, so we understood earlier that you can't access values from a set using an index. For instance, let's say, because if you look at it carefully, realize that you ordered things in a certain way, but the outcome of the values stored in memory has been reordered. Now, so if you are thinking C#, let's say Java will be at the last end, and you try to access Java from the last index, you will realize that you will end up having challenge. You will end up having an issue, because if you notice, the position of Java has shifted from being the last as declared by you to being the second as stored in memory. Now, Vicky, just to keep you up to speed here, in programming, values are being stored in computers' memory by index. When it comes to indexing them, values are being stored in computers' memory whenever you declare the value that the computer should store them in memory for you. And this is one way to store it. So you declare the variable and then you set a value to it. And this value can be any value. It can be your name. It can be anything. Now, that is what we say values being stored in memory. Another thing that I mentioned was indexing. So indexing, computers number values in memory from 0 to infinity. So if you want to access, let's say, the first item in the computer's memory, that and the value is being indexed. Let me put it that way. And the value is being indexed, which means that the position of the values are being numbered. That is all it means. When we say something is being indexed in a computers in programming, we are just saying that the position of the values are being numbered from 0 to infinity. Now, if you want to access a particular value at a particular position, you just provide the position as according. So if, let's say, for instance, this value is being stored at position 0, you just access it from, let's say, C#, just access it from position 0. If this were to be indexed, you just access it from position 0, and this from position 1, and this from position 2, and this from position 3, and so forth and so on. But so that is what it means when you say something is being indexed. I hope that is clear. I know you will not get it now, but when I start warming you up, you will get to understand all of that. But just don't want you to be kind of lost in the class. That is how come I'm trying to mention that to you, so that when I use the word index, you don't get lost. Okay, so like I was saying, Mr. Zaki, you realize that these values, because they are being reordered, you can't access them at an index position or at a position, which means you will have a challenge. So let's just try accessing something from an index. So let's say programming languages, and then we say at position 0. Now, if you try running it, it gives you an error, simply because you can't access it at an index. Sets are not indexed or ordered. So now to access a value in an index, to access a value in a set, you can use what we call the key. So let's say let's just one step to accessing values from a set is one step is by using the loop. So because they cannot be accessed with a key or with an index. So let's start with, let's say, for instance, with a loop. So let's say let's just print our programming languages all over again, and then let's use a loop. So this time around, I'll just say for let's say language in programming languages. Now I'll just print language, and then I'm able to access each value in the set. Do you get it? So that is one way of accessing, like getting the values in a set. Since you can't access them by an index or by a key, because there are no keys defining it, you don't know which key to use to access it. Yeah, so you can just use a simple loop to access it. Okay, so let's work on another example that is a set that is mixed value. So mixed value set. So I'll say Lucky, let's say 34, let's say Zach, let's say 45, then let's add true, false, 12.4. Now you realize that, so let me just make it 12.5. Now you realize that this is a string data type, this is an integer data type, this is a Boolean data type, and this is a float data type. You get it?
Yes.
Very good. So I'll just run this shortly and then print it on the screen and see. Realize that it got reordered for us again. You asked earlier whether the values can be reordered, and the answer to that, even when they are mixed data set types, and the answer to that is yes, it reorders them. So if you notice 12, 34, 45, false, Lucky, true, Zach, it has reordered everything for you. That is how it works, even with mixed value data set, mixed values in the sets. Proceeding from there, we want to update a set or add value to a set. Now, to add value to a set or update a set, you use the keyword called add. So let's just say new. Actually, let's say let's add another programming language to our set. That is what. Let's just print the programming languages again. We have these programming languages, but we want to append a new programming language, and let's say add. That is where we need the add function. So let's say C++. Good, C++. I've added C++, and then I print the programming languages again. You notice C++ got added to my programming languages list. So you use the keyword the function dot add. Sorry, the function called add on the set variable. In the updating process, I want us to combine. So if you remember, we try to declare some tuples, for instance, and then we join the tuples, or we concatenated the tuples. Now in concatenating set, you use the keyword update. Sorry, the function called update. All right, so let's just declare a new programming language list set, and then say this one will be TypeScript. Then let's say it will have another value called that's another programming language, and let's say Golang. That's another programming language. All right, so we are coming to join new programming languages to programming languages. So we call programming languages dot updates. Then that is the function. So we pass the new function to read, the new programming languages list to read, which is new programming languages. But before that, let me print this and let's see what we have in there. All right. Then I update the list, the new list. That is the programming languages list. And I print it again and see what I have. All right. If you notice, I have the updated programming languages list, because now Dart has been added, Golang has been added, TypeScript has been added. And if you observed carefully, they have also been reordered perfectly. If you remember in our previous lesson, when we concatenated the two the two tuples or the two lists, you realize that they were only appended to the list, which means, or to the tuples, which means they were just added to the last, to the end of the tuple or to the list. But in this case, even though they've been added to the list, they got reordered. Now let's look at another aspect of sets, which is basically saying that we are removing values from a set. All right, so to remove values from a set, we use the keyword remove. So let's print our programming languages variable again and see we have these values in it. Okay, so let's say I want to remove let's say I want to remove that from it.
Okay.
So let's say programming languages dot remove, then into bracket that. It has been removed. When I try to print it again, you look at it carefully, you realize that that is no longer there in the list. So that is how you remove an item from a set. Okay, thank you so much for your time.
If you have not subscribed yet, please do and click the notification button so that you will be the first to know when we release a new video. Visit academy.tinker.com and see you in the next video.